Welcome to the Aesthetic AF podcast. Today we have with us Heather Leopold, and this is an extra special one because she's actually one of my clients. So I'm really excited to talk with you today and then just really dive into the power of networking. So Heather, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Hi, I'm Heather Leopold. I am the owner of an Ivy Wellness Lounge in the Katy area in Cinco Ranch. I'm also a mother of 3 kids, soon to be empty nester. I'm part of both chambers of commerce in the Katy area, and I network full time, I feel like.
Yeah, it seems like you're everywhere all the time, which is awesome. Yeah, and we both met you through networking too. So I think I met you through a chamber event.
Yes.
And then I think about a year later, we started actually like working together. And you met her.
I'm trying to think, Heather, where did we actually meet?
Katy Women in Business.
Yeah, Katy Women in Business. I was like, is that where we first met? Yeah. And we've been connected ever since, really. And then even more, our circles have gotten like tighter and tighter, closer and closer together. So yeah, it's been great. It has been great. But you do network everywhere. Why did you choose to network right off the bat? Did you come into owning business thinking, I need to network to grow it? Or was it kind of something that happened over time?
So we are an infant business and brand awareness was not there. So it's not like I bought into a Chick-fil-A or a McDonald's where everybody knows what it is. And so the only way to get the word out there, I felt, is through networking, joining the chambers of commerce, grassroots marketing, those kinds of things. And so that's where it started. And marketing for MedSpa is difficult in the Google and Facebook world right now. There's a lot of rules and regulations, so I can't rely on that as my only form of marketing. And so getting out there and talking to my fellow business owners and the community to talk about what I do and also to explain it because it is new on the market. And so it's a new service that a lot of people don't know about. And so being able to talk to them about what it is, what it solves for, a lot of people don't know. And I still to this day talk to people. I've been talking to them for 2 years and they're like, I didn't know you did that. And it's, how did you miss that? A lot of times I'm only getting up and doing a 30-second commercial, but I do run into the same people over and over again. And through networking, one-on-one time is imperative. A lot of people shy away from networking because they're introverts. And I will just say I am an introvert. When I'm done marketing for the day, I do need some quiet time just to decompress myself. And another thing is people will always say, I wasn't invited. And I was like, I wasn't invited either. And I just showed up. Or they don't want to do it alone. And it's fine if you find a fellow business owner in the beginning to be your partner in crime when you go to networking events. But if you're out there networking with somebody else, unless y'all are aligned in your clients, you're not going to get the same rate of return. And especially if you're linked up with an extrovert, you need to be working in the circles of people that have like-minded clients as you. And so sometimes when you link up with a friend of yours that owns a business, you might not be rubbing elbows with the right people. But I will say that when I'm out in all my networking groups, there are what I call connectors. They're people that will say, hey, you need to know this person, or you need to know that person, or they'll bring somebody over and, hey, I want to introduce you to Heather. She does XYZ. I think you two can do a collaboration together. And so I highly suggest you getting out there. You don't have to be invited. Don't shy away from having a conversation with somebody, even if you don't think, you can't go into it thinking, what am I going to get from this? I'm going to get clients from every networking event. It's word of mouth. It's reputation. I pretty much don't go anywhere that somebody doesn't know me in the room. because I've been to so many things. And then they tell the person that's with them, hey, by the way, this is Heather. She does this, that, and the other. She does IV therapy. It's great for this. Or I've been there, or check out her Instagram. And so it's a great way to just get your business out there if you're just starting out.
I love the idea of the networking buddy and being strategic with who you choose, because I think a lot of us, when we're first starting out, it's okay, anyone that's willing to go with me, I'll go with them. And then you end up either both on a wall the whole time, just talking to each other, and you don't actually make any connections, or you end up talking to all of their people that it just doesn't make sense for your business. Being strategic in that, I think, is super important. How do you network differently now than when you started several years ago?
Several years ago, I went to any networking event. Now I've learned I really don't go to a networking event that I don't do my 30-second commercial. I think it's imperative, because unless you want to really work the room, it is really hard to know who you want to talk to in a room, or who. And I don't always go with the intention of my IV business. There's times where I'm like, you know what? I think I know a roofer, but I can't remember who that is. And so sometimes when I'm just talking to people, I'm like, oh, I need you in my life. Like Samantha, when I heard her profit coach pitch, I was like, yeah, who doesn't need Samantha in their life? And even though I met you, Tara, and I was on the fence about social media, I was like, I can do it myself and it's cheaper. But I quickly realized, I was like, this isn't where I want to be spending my time. And Tara was never pressuring me to become a client or anything like that. And just one day when I had it and I was like, I need social media and I know somebody. And so I reached out to Tara. We sat down, we talked, and then I hired her. Sometimes the cycle is going to be a little bit longer for people, but as long as you're out there and talking to people on a regular basis, if you're not out there all the time, they're going to forget who you are. They'll be like, yeah, I know that girl that does the IV. I can't remember the name of it. And they'll Google it and they'll find the closest IV place to them. But if you're at the events, they're like, oh, I need you in my life. I need to schedule time to come to your store. And I'm like, absolutely. And I'll answer all their questions. And you can't beat that. That's one-on-one, telling them what you offer, how you can solve for their problems, and just really talking about your business. And I remember in the beginning when I started networking, I had somebody else, an employee, networking for me. And one of the connectors was like, Heather, nobody tells your story like you do. And I was like, I never thought that made that big of a difference. But when people know your why, they're more apt to buy from you, and to know your integrity. They're more apt to buy from you than sending somebody in your place.
Yeah.
I think that's so true. I think there's so much opportunity it's that no trust factor, and you can't outsource that. You can train, you can have somebody that does an excellent job out there networking for you, but it has to be very strategic. It can't just be, I can't go, so I'm going to send Glenda and she's going to do a great job. And it's like, Glenda's, what am I doing today? I have no idea what I'm supposed to say. It puts people in that awkward position. I think it was interesting, though, that you said you don't really go to many networking events anymore where you can't do your 30-second commercial. I think that for somebody who's listening, who's thinking, oh, networking, I'm scared of that 30-second commercial, I think that flips it completely on its head to have people consider how valuable it is to get up in a room and be able to share what you do exactly how you want, and to put it in terms people understand. You're so used to having those conversations with people that, like, what questions do I get asked all the time? That's what I'm going to start referencing, because I know that's what people are thinking. I think if business owners could get their head around the 30-second commercial being absolute benefit, as opposed to, oh no, they're coming, it's around the room, here they go. Like, you're still going to have those nerves, but I think that's a much better way to look at it. I like that it's almost like now your category of requirement. I like that a lot.
Don't get me wrong. I was completely nervous saying my 30-second commercial for over a year, and I perfected it. And you just got to hit your major points. You've got to hit the points of creating an interest of somebody wanting to come and have a conversation with you after that meeting. But if you're not doing that 30-second commercial, let's say you walk into a room of 100 people, the most you're going to be able to really connect with is maybe five. Maybe five. That means 95 people that you may have needed to talk to were there, and it was a missed opportunity. So I don't like missed opportunities. I like to hear everybody's pitch to know who I want to talk to. And I like to give my pitch just in case there's somebody there that wants to talk to me.
Yeah, I love that. And that makes me, I'm like sitting here thinking about reframing the way I look at networking events and which ones are valuable versus just extra
time. And I think speaking to that, like really evaluating where are the people that you need to be connected with. And sometimes those people are going to be periphery people, right? They're not going to be your potential clients necessarily, but they're going to be the people that know who your potential clients are and can connect you. Or it is, do I go to events that are my people are there? Like I know you do some vendor events and those sorts of things as well, where you're in front of, let's call it more general population stuff as well. Still very much networking, but in front of people that are directly looking for your services or are considering wellness as a big priority. I think as business owners, we need to really be selective. Our time is one of our most valuable commodities. So we have to make sure it's super effective when we're doing these networking things. And it does take planning and strategy and thinking through what I'm trying to get out of it and then going in with a plan. And I think reframing that 30-second commercial is a huge way to make a better use of your time in the networking as you're weeding through where's the best place for me.
Yeah, and I'll do pop-ups with collabs with different gyms or other holistic healers. I won't ever say no to something, but if I don't think it's the best of use of my time to have a table there, I'll donate a prize instead. That's a good way to still have brand recognition, have people talking about you, and then you get to give back to the community, even though you aren't able to be there in person yourself.
Yeah.
And going into the collaboration side of how you've taken who you're networking with and then moved that into not looking at getting business from them, but collaborating with them on a shared venture, like what you're doing currently with a local gym. Do you want to talk about how that kind of conversation occurred and the importance of that?
So we just sat and talked, and we did a one-on-one. That's how it started. We did a one-on-one, and all business owners are trying to figure out how to grow their business. And if you have like-minded clients, you align with each other. And so you've got to figure out, you're always trying to figure out how to enhance your client's experience. And so if you can say for me, for IV therapy, people are always like, do you do aesthetics? And I said, no, but I know somebody that does. And I've actually had people to come in and do aesthetics at my business when I do an event or things like that. And so it becomes very natural, and you cross promote each other. I'm promoting them to all my clients and my customer lists. They're promoting me to their clients and their customer lists. And hopefully it becomes a win-win situation for both businesses, and it helps you both grow. It then goes back to personality. If it wasn't me out there networking and them knowing my integrity, and I always invite them in to get a service because I want them to know what they're selling to their clients. Getting over that fear of what it's like. IV therapy is a funny business because, a lot of people I hear, I'm afraid of needles and this and that and the other. But they don't want to take vitamins on a regular basis. And I'm like, we solved that. And my nurses, I hire very amazing nurses that have good IV skills. So you don't have to be worried. And I invite them in, just come and get a tour. I'm like, I promise we won't stick you. And it's that disarming them and getting them over their fear. A lot of people's fear are money. Then for me, it's actual fear of needles. And so you've got to solve for those pain points to get clients in. And so once you answer all their questions, all their what ifs or how or why or how effective is it, then they're more apt to come to you.
Yeah. And the more you're out there networking strategically like that and hitting those pain points in light conversation, the more likely they are then to just, okay, I'm going to go in to see Heather because I've seen her every week for the last year and I think this could be a good thing. So I'm going to go in and try it. So yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? So we know we're not necessarily like out there networking and trolling for clients in that we're trying to like make the sale in the moment. And you've been very clear that's not how you operate. And I know that's not how you operate. But how do you find transitioning? So are you still living in the place of very much like people are coming to you? So post networking, they're coming to you to have a conversation, coming and finding you, going to the shop, that sort of thing? Or do you find you're starting to do a little bit more proactive? How do I find clients from this networking?
I have not jumped into the proactive. I've been in sales for 15 years of my life and I'm not a hardcore salesperson. So and especially in the IV business, I feel a hardcore sale and me chasing people down is not going to be a good use of my time. Other businesses, maybe that initial follow up, putting them in your CRM, putting automatic texts that go out to them to remind them about you. I think that could work for some businesses. I don't know that is the best use of my time, or I've decided it's not the best use of my time. But I do know sometimes I think, gosh, there was that one person I really should have followed up with. And so maybe I'm shooting myself in the foot, but I feel like if they really are interested, they'll come eventually. And more than likely, I'll see them at another event. We can have another conversation. As opposed to being invasive, I'm very much a more passive person.
Yeah. I lean on the more passive side as well, which I'm trying to get a little bit more out of my comfort zone with that. Because I think sometimes, yes, they want it, they'll come eventually one day. But then other times it's, oh, yeah, that sounds cool. They don't see you again. They completely forget about it. At least that's me. Once I see a person, I'm like, oh, that's a cool thing. I'll sign up for that. I leave, I'm completely forgotten. But if they were to text me or call me, I'd be like, oh, yeah, I did want to do that. Yeah, let's do it. So I think there is definitely power in the follow up, but it's finding the time to do it. And as running the business and doing all the networking and all of that, it's like you have to prioritize what your time goes to and then also what your budget allows for.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, like, I think there is a time and place for it. I think it's that identifying that buying interest, that buying curiosity, and not actively pursuing them like a crazy person. Because I think we all know what that feels like. When I say that, every one of us listening is, oh, yeah, I've been that person getting accosted. We don't want to be those people. But I do think there's that opportunity where it's, if we're not taking those connections that we're making just a little step further, just a little farther down the path, and at least making sure that there's multiple connection points that they're in your world. So I think looking at how do I get them from, if I run into you in a networking location again, I'll see you and that we'll just continue our dialogue, to let's put you somewhere in my sphere. And then that conversation, even then, can be still the same passive, but doesn't have to be an aggressive strategy. But I think even that, trying to pull them into your world a little, if they've given you some indication of interest.
I have started scheduling a one-on-one right then and there. I'm like, let's look at our schedule.
And I think that's high value. Yeah.
I know myself now that I'm not going to sit down and do that email. I'm not going to do that follow up. And if I find it that important and they find it that important, you better get it on your schedule right now. And so I have changed that. So I will start scheduling one-on-ones pretty quickly. Probably not the very first time I ever talked to them, because the first time you talk to somebody, of course, they sound very interested and they're like, oh my gosh, all that's amazing. But then that's just the initial reaction, right? So then if I see them again and they're saying, oh, I meant to come see you. And I'm like, you know what? Let's schedule a one-on-one. What's your schedule look like? That can be aggressive to some people, but not to the right people. It won't feel aggressive to the right people, because I can say there's probably 10 people I could name off the top of my head that said, we've been circling each other for a year. We need to sit down and talk. And so it becomes, there's a reason that I keep seeing you. You're meant to be in my life for whatever reason, whether it's moral support, whether it's that we're going to do business together, whether it's we're going to do a collaboration or whatever. There is a reason that you and I keep being in the same room. So let's figure out what that is. And so for the owner of that gym, it's not just that we're doing a collaboration together. They offer so many other things. That's not their only business. There's multiple other businesses. And so I've already done some referrals for that person, and they've gotten more business from it. And so it grows your network. But without that one-on-one, all you know is that person's 30-second commercial. You don't know their why. You don't know all the things that they offer, because I don't talk about half of the things that we offer at my
has
ID
time
place.
to talk about all the bits. Yeah.
So
I like it. I like that you're like, wait, I actually am a little bit more doing the sales thing. Hold on. I've adapted. I like it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Your social media in the last year has shifted. How do you integrate what you're doing networking with getting them either to your social media, or have you seen a difference there? Or I guess talk about how the two work together.
So a lot of times, we have some great networking groups that immediately talk about following each other, and we'll pull up our QR codes and we'll follow each other's social media. And then you start showing up on their feeds. In certain groups, we pass referrals and your algorithm changes and you start seeing things. And then as your friends are commenting or liking or sharing, it grows things. But I can't tell you how many times people are like, oh my gosh, your social media is amazing, and this and that and the other. And I always tell them, Tara Lynn Media does my social media. I don't do it myself, but yes, it is great. I agree. And it becomes natural to grow, and it's a natural progression.
Yeah. Well, and I think looking at your social media as that passive touch point too, it's one of those. So even if you're not adding them directly into an email list, as long as they have gotten to the point where they're following you, you're still in their sphere outside of when you're physically in front of them.
Right.
Yeah, I think it is. I think we harp on this. I feel like I harp on this a lot, but the idea of when you're looking at business success overall, it is that integration strategy of all the pieces that you're doing. And most business owners, it is over time we figure out, oh yeah, now that puzzle piece goes over here. And then I need this puzzle piece to come over here. And it's a matter of just really leaning in on that and knowing that day one of your business, you're not going to know all these things. You're not going to have all these integrated pieces and a strategy for networking. But what you can know is that organic marketing at the beginning of your business and getting your name out there as brand recognition are first and foremost. And then how do you want to do that? There's 1,000 ways you can do all of those things. Choose a couple, lean in, let's go, and then build the puzzle as you go. And I think I've seen that a lot, Heather, with you over the years that we've been in the same little spheres, just that piece by piece, puzzle by puzzle, it just builds and builds. And then your network gets bigger and bigger.
I can tell you that through networking, I learned about the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. I've learned how to do things more efficiently in my business. Some of my networking groups actually have an education piece up to it. There's mentorships that happen in your networking groups. And so if you're not networking, you're missing out on all this information that people are passing between each other for free. And there's always something that can help you, or you have a pain point that you're trying to solve, and you go to an event and somebody else has the same pain point. And it's all through conversations. So if you're not having conversations, then you're going to have to do this all on your own. Yes, AI is great, but AI isn't going to tell you what works in your market and what doesn't work in your market. AI isn't going to tell you all businesses are struggling this week, it's graduation or whatever. You don't know if you're not talking with other business owners that are in your market. Your measurements of how successful you are skewed. And not that misery loves company, but just knowing I'm not the only one. This is a thing right now, and it's only going to be temporary. And some businesses will talk to you. They know exactly these months are going to be slow, so they build for it and they save for it. And so then you find your own cycle of business. But also just knowing you're not alone in it is one of the biggest benefits. And if you make friendships out of it, even better.
Yeah, which happens a lot.
It's inevitable.
Yeah.
I feel like especially when we talk about networking regularly, right? You're going to the same places, you're seeing new people, you're meeting new people all the time, but you're seeing those people, certain people all the time. And that's how you and I connected as well, was networking, and it just blossomed into a whole other thing. And I think it's being open to conversations, which then leads to collaborations, which then leads to partnerships. Like, it's a whole world out there that you don't even know what you're looking for, but people trip into your world all the time, and there's such value there. So I think it's worth tiptoeing out there, being real nervous about a 30-second commercial, and just trying.
Yeah. Get out of the comfort zone.
Yeah. Always fun.
Thank you, Heather, so much for coming on the podcast today. It has been an excellent conversation and so much good information.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for joining us.
All right. Thank you, ladies.